Board of Public Works for August 21st, 2023, held in the Jeannie Seelig Room here at City Hall. Attending tonight, myself, we have Kim, we have Bill, and we have Dave. Don is off with excuse tonight. Public appearances for non-agenda items. I don't believe anyone is registered to speak. So that moves us to 3 Alpha, approval of minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the August 7th for Public Works minutes?
I'll move to approve the August 7th.
Moved by Bob, second by Wilborn. Questions, corrections, changes? Seeing none, we'll call the vote. All in favor of approval of the minutes, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Minutes are approved. Next, for a report from our Director of Public Works, Mr. Tim Bolker.
I'll start off with some staff updates. We still have 2 openings, the utilities engineer and the environment engineering technician. For the utilities engineer, we removed the current posting last week, took that down, and we're going to repost 2 positions, one without the PE license and one with the PE license. So much similar to how we handled the project engineer for the right-of-way, where we removed the PE requirement, hoping to get some more candidates in the door. The one kind of slight change with how we did the project engineer right-of-way is with this one we're holding the degree necessary, so we're not going to have the work experience in lieu of the degree. We feel that with this being such a technical position with the utilities engineer, the engineering degree is pretty important, so we want to hold that. But we think obviously posting without the PE will be able to get some more interest in the position. So we're hoping to have that up by the end of this week, the 2 postings, and go from there. So if we do get a successful candidate without a PE or with a PE, they would get paid accordingly based on their experience.
Yeah, Tracy earned her PE while she was working here.
Exactly.
So hopefully we.
Yeah, I believe she was hired out of school.
Yes, yes, she was.
So then with the environment engineering technician, we completed the job description. As I mentioned, last meeting or the meeting before that, we had revised the job description. The city only had an engineering technician 2 position, so we revised it to have a 1, 2, and 3. So that job description is being reviewed by the city's consultant to place each one of those positions in the appropriate pay grade. So once we get that evaluation back, we're hoping to bring it to the Personnel Committee in September. And then once, if it gets approved and authorized in September at that meeting, we'll post shortly thereafter and look to hopefully get some more interest since we kind of have 3 levels for the engineering technician. So we think those small changes will definitely bring in some more candidates for the positions. Next up, we have some project updates. The Sain Road reconstruction project, the intersection of Sain Road and Lacey Road, we're anticipating having opened on September 1st, 2023. With that opening, the intersection will still be stop sign controlled until the traffic signals become operational. And then the Sain Road and East Sherrill Parkway intersection will be closed for construction from September 1st to the end of October. And that detour will be the same as in 2022 when that intersection was closed.
Is it contingent on Sain and Lacey opening, or is that going to happen?
Yeah, so we won't close this East Sherrill and Sain Road intersection unless the Sain Road and Lacey Road intersection is open. So if that September 1st date slips a day or 2, the closing of Sain Road and East Sherrill will also slip the same amount.
Trying to avoid marooning people in there on the street.
Yeah.
I was going to say, probably a good idea just to leave it open through Labor Day. You know, if you do happen to get Sain and Lacey opened.
Right, yeah,
Before
sure.
Labor Day, you go till the Tuesday after, because the contractor's not going to do anything over Labor Day weekend anyway.
Right.
Good point, Kim.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll coordinate that. The Lacey Road and Seminole Highway reconstruction project, we're on track to have the Lacey Road and Seminole Highway intersection complete by August 31st. So school starts the day after Labor Day, that Tuesday. We're anticipating having it open the Thursday, which I believe is next week, Thursday. So we're on track. They laid asphalt last week, the binder course, looking to lay that last lift this week and then striping right after that.
Looks good, I've been down there a couple times.
Yeah. And then the remaining part of the road, Lacey Road, west of that intersection, west to Fitchburg Road, that will be continued to be constructed till November of 2023.
Be completed by then?
Yes, anticipated completion date's November 2023.
Thanks.
Next up is our street resurfacing project. The contractor started pulverizing the roads last week and also started replacing the curb and gutter as part of that project. And that this project will continue on into October 2023. And then the Fitchburg Road reconstruction project, we're about 50% design completed. So continuing to work on the design for Fitchburg. With that, does anyone have any questions?
I don't.
No, I'm good.
Thank you, Tim.
You're welcome.
All right, let's move on to the agenda. Next, we have 5A, review of utility fee card purchases and checks. Does anyone have any questions on these?
None here.
I do not have any either.
I don't have any.
Okay. All right. Very good. And take us into our agenda items then. So the first, we have a resolution R 15423 approving the relocation order and TPP related to reconstruction Sain Road Phase 2 Northeast Sherrill Parkway to West Clayton Road. Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll move approval.
Moved by Bill. Do we have a second?
I mean,
Second by Lafayette.
I recuse myself
Okay.
from this item.
I'll second it.
Second by
Because
Lafayette.
KL did the plat.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you. So, in the design, we have to acquire some right-of-way here, and we're hopeful that we can acquire it without eminent domain. But this resolution allows us to go down that road if we feel necessary for that, to acquire those parcels. I wasn't sure, are we able to bring up the maps on that, which parcels you were talking about here? I couldn't quite
Are you
identify
looking at
those.
just which ones are fee or which ones are TLE? There's only 2 fee parcels.
Okay,
The rest are just TLEs, temporary
Okay.
limited easements
All
during
right.
And I
construction.
can bring up the map.
can we do that? Yeah.
Says it's sharing, but it's not popping up on
We're not getting an option.
But yeah, Kim's right there. It's two small parcels. One of them is 558 square feet.
Okay. What utility number is that?
And
It's parcel 23 is
Parcel
the first
23.
one. It's
Okay.
up in the northwest corner of Sain and Central Park Place or
20.
Nine Bark.
What'd you say it was 22?
Parcel number 23, it's on Nine Bark.
Okay. Give me 1 second. I see it, okay.
Top left of the document.
I got you, okay, so it's a little sliver there.
Mhm.
Okay, all right. I see it there. Hopefully they are not too endeared to that little piece. Was there another one?
28, it's on the next sheet on page 14 on our plans.
Okay.
There's a blow up of it there, it's on Cyene and just north of Argus.
And that one's about 25 square feet.
Oh, okay.
It's just very tiny.
Very tiny.
I see it. That corner of that old lot there. Okay.
And what does fee mean in this case?
They actually have to purchase the land,
Okay.
and TLE is just a temporary limited easement. They compensate them for doing some work on their land in construction and then during construction and then restore it back to its case. But fee is when they actually have to buy the land. Is they're putting some kind of an improvement on there or they have to do some kind of long-term maintenance.
I hope these go well. It's relatively small compared to a lot of other road projects we've had, so hope these
Yeah, these are tiny,
Hope these,
they should be fine, but
should not be,
part of the reason sometimes people go to eminent domain, it's not that they disagree with the project or anything else, or even giving up their land, they just think they can get a better price if they go to, they don't like the offer that was made to them, and they think they can get a better price by going to
it
arbitration.
usually doesn't work though, does it?
Well, sometimes it does, but most of the time it doesn't, but
That's
some
yeah.
people feel that, but it's usually mostly on bigger parcels and small ones, like this, I can't.
Something where there's some, a little more aesthetic, yeah, okay. Any questions on this? So this will, this is 2024, this will be taking place, this work? Am I correct?
End of 2024 and into 2025.
Into 2025, okay.
Yeah, most of the construction will be 2025.
Okay.
I had a question. So I guess, how did we get to this point where we now need additional land rather than having existing easements? Did we just not think this was gonna be this big a deal 15 years ago or something?
Well, it was Cyene Road was essentially a rural road. In our redesign, when design was done, council voted to, against to make it wider by putting a buffer for the bike lane on it and then our path. So the design of the road that council approved essentially caused the need for this additional land. Am I close there, Tim?
Yeah, and as you go through the design process, with the radiuses and, bike lane sidewalks, there may not be enough existing right of way that in order to incorporate the cross section that the city's looking for, you need to obtain additional land to do those improvements.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, it's only too small plot, but still, if you can avoid it altogether, that would be
Yeah,
preferable
And I think the city did a pretty good job to only have to, on a big roadway project, only two properties you're impacting, one only being 25 square feet, that's pretty good.
Yeah, the other one's not even on Cyene really, it's more on
It's on
Nine Bar.
Nine Bar, yeah.
Bill, back to your initial question, if you ask this rural road, why didn't we acquire more right of way when it was built or designed? And I can't, whatever they did at the time, and I think it was before I was born, the road was there.
I mean, but it's not Cyene, it's Nine Bar, which is a relatively new road.
Yeah.
But they just do a standard right away
Is it
and then
the
the
roundabout
intersection design,
gonna
maybe
be off
turn
kilter too going
lanes or
down?
something else, they
They're
would
sure all Cyene
need a
need,
little bit.
because that apartment building's so damn, that should have never been allowed to be that close.
Yeah, Cheryl and Cyene's gonna have a traffic signal.
Oh, gotta go
Yeah,
lights
Nine
down.
Bar
Yeah.
and Cyene will have the roundabout.
Okay. Because it's too hard, you wouldn't have it centered if you put one there.
Yep, you're correct. Any other questions on this? Again, this gives us the authorization to do that. Hopefully, we'll come to that, but if it does, I think we can be resolved without too much trouble. All right, then we'll call the vote. All in favor of resolution R-154-23, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next.
Abstain.
Oh, and Kim abstains, thank you. All right, thank you, Kim. Next, we have resolution R-153-23, authorizing acceptance of the Greenway Cross of Eggman Road intersection stormwater improvement bid. Do we have a motion to approve?
I so move we approve resolution R-153-23.
Moved by Wilborn, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Kim. So this intersection, the big rain we had a couple of weeks ago, that intersection flooded most recently. I believe it has a history of flooding. It is a low spot down there, and it is not connected. The intersection is not connected to our stormwater pipes. So our plan here is to extend the stormwater and put inlets on the street to so the water can get out from that intersection. Is there anything more to that, Tim?
I just mentioned that there is a budget amendment associated with that. So we're looking at moving $115,000, amending the TID, the 2023 TID number 10 budget to pay for $115,000 of this project. Because approximately 35% of that TID drains to this area. And then also looking to amend the stormwater utility fund budget to redirect $136,000 to this project. We had some money left over from the dredging project that we were able to move over to this project to help pay for it.
So roughly we'll get some out, we'll get 35% on the TID, and we move some money we had left over. What's the remaining that will just come out of the stormwater budget that we?
It looks like about $30,000. You take 130, was it 115?
Yeah, it was
135.
115 and then 136.
Yeah, so it's about $50,000.
Okay.
Was this close to the engineer's estimate, Tim? Are you getting decent bids?
Yeah, we were happy with the bids we received. We received 3 bids, and they were all relatively close to each other. So
It's nice that you got 3 bids, because then you get a good comparison to.
Exactly.
So if it's awarded, when would you anticipate doing the project?
We'd anticipate starting this year on this
All right.
project.
I was gonna say we're getting into September, October is a good time to do it, hopefully you don't get deluged. And,
We're not in Southern California, right?
yeah. How deep do we have to go to get the slope we want to get the water out of there? I'm assuming we have to get down a little bit.
The exact slope, I don't know. I know we didn't have to go as deep as we originally thought. We were able to shallow it up, which helped with the cost.
All right.
So.
It's probably, I'm sure it'd be more money, but was it considered raising the intersection so that the water went elsewhere? Was that
Yeah,
considered?
as part of the project, there'll be some intersection grading to help get the water to the storm sewer and storm drains. And then obviously those drains will take it, convey it elsewhere.
Okay. Where does that water end up going? I'm trying to picture where it ends up flowing to.
I think it heads east to.
What basin?
Ziyahara.
Yeah, I suspect you're right. So when it does flood, the water just stays there till it evaporates. Essentially, your cars slosh it out of there.
Yeah.
Pretty much so, yeah.
Okay, that's a bad deal.
So I'm looking at the Google Street View. It looks like we've got a curb but no gutter there right now. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. And is there, in terms of funding, is there going to be resurfacing? Would it make any sense to use some of the resurfacing funds that you've got available this year to?
Well, so the resurfacing, we had to do budget amendments to do those projects, so there wasn't enough money to do those. So
I thought
all that's
the
been allocated.
I thought the 3.2 million from Fish Hatchery Road got put in there, but was not gonna be completely used this year.
Yeah, there is that could potentially, I don't think there's much resurfacing on this, just where they're open cutting the road for the pipe.
Okay.
So it's minimal, and I believe there's stormwater budgets for that also. So that's where kind of that 50,000 that was budgeted is that we didn't need to do a budget amendment for, that's where we're taking that money for.
Okay.
Did the city do the design on this, Tim?
We did
Okay.
this in-house.
Excellent. Excellent.
Because it is helpful if you just put like one plan sheet
In
in
there.
here, because then we get a better feel for
Can
what
see
it actually is that you're doing.
Yeah, we can do that for future agenda items.
Can you, have that for council tomorrow?
Yes.
Be possible to- And we just want to bring that up when well, I'm not sure if this will be on, I think this will be on council tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And finance and council tomorrow.
Okay. Any other questions for Tim on this? I'm glad, I'm
Needs to be
happy to
done.
see we're designing
Yeah.
this in-house.
Yeah.
Very happy to see that, and I'm happy with how fast you're making it happen. You can do it in-house, we can move these along a little faster, a little less delay. All right, and there's no more questions, we'll call the vote. All in favor of resolution R 15323, authorizing acceptance of Greenway Cross Eggman Road intersection stormwater improvement bid, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. Next, we have resolution R 15523, purchase of pedestrian lights for third edition to Terravesa. Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve.
Moved by Kim, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Bill. These pedestrian lights were required as part of the smart grid or smart, whatever you want to call it, for this development, and purchase price of these and installation is paid by the developer. And anything else to add to that, Tim?
The city's just purchasing them through direct contract, so they're all the same, but then they'll get reimbursed by the developer.
Correct, and really the reason we purchase them is because to maintain the lifetime warranty, where if the developer did, the
Yeah.
developer would have that warranty, but we'd be maintaining them and wouldn't get the warranty, so that's the reason.
That's smart.
Okay. Any questions on this?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Bill.
So I saw the product number on the quote, and I couldn't find that at the Stress Crete website. I just typed in the first 4 digits. The only thing that comes up when you type in the K118 is something that does not look like it's cutoff or dark sky compliant. Is that a concern? It's got like, I can pull up a.
I think they've put in a bunch of these already, haven't they? I mean, they're just matching the ones
Yeah.
that got to all.
Do they look like this?
That's the K1,
K118.
and it's the R, is that the R?
This is the only thing that came up when I typed K118.
Yeah,
It says Washington, so I don't know what the R would be for.
and there's a dash P4AR-3.
Oh, okay, features, P4, B3, or R1, advanced LED optical system.
As Kim had mentioned, we've already installed, it's gone through the city's approval process, so it's met the requirements of the development department.
Weird, I mean, that doesn't look like dark sky or full cutoff.
Well, the LEDs can be positioned in there so that you see that much. I see the shadow on the ground and I see it lit up.
Yeah, I mean, just look at the top, you don't see a black.
Yeah, you're correct there.
I'm just, I don't know if we have, an an actual lighting ordinance yet, but I think that's coming, isn't it? And I'm pretty sure this would be in violation.
If we don't have an ordinance, it wouldn't be.
Well, I mean,
Right.
this, like, if we had it in place, if we have what's planned in place, I think this would violate it.
Can you have someone take a picture of one of them that's down there
Sure.
right now and have that for us tomorrow?
Yep.
So this is something, we'll probably want to discuss at council. Thank you, Bill, I appreciate your diligence in looking at it.
I have one more question then. We're buying directly from Stress Creek, but the quote is coming from somebody else. What was the name of that?
Visual impact.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I didn't know anything into that.
So they're the distributor of that product. So like
Okay.
when we buy, say, pipes or fittings, we go through the distributor, not the manufacturer.
Okay.
So that's
I thought
just
it-
how
yeah.
it's.
All right, I thought it said we were buying direct from the manufacturer. That makes sense what you're saying. I mean, that seems like the usual course of action.
Any other questions? Seeing none, we'll call the vote. All in favor of resolution R
Well,
155?
hang on.
Go ahead, Bill.
Well,
I'm sorry, I'm not, I don't want to rush you here, so take your time.
Well, I mean, what do we want to do about, I'd rather not approve this until we find out whether the lighting meets the city's expectations.
All right,
I think there's a lot to be said for consistency in the fact that they've already installed many of those out there, and it's a continuation of basically what they have. To change it, I don't think at this point. I mean, I can see maybe for future subdivisions and developments, it might be something you wanna look at, but if you're in the middle of a subdivision, to me, it's more important to have consistency so that people are, used to what's there and see it.
And it's gone through the approval process. So Terra Vesta's, all this has been reviewed and approved.
And
So
so
whatever.
you're absolutely sure we've got a whole bunch more exactly like this out that are already out there?
Absolutely.
Okay.
yeah, if you're gonna, I have a picture of one for council tomorrow. And even if we approve it, council can vote it down too, so.
Okay.
Or you can vote, then you can vote against it here if you're not comfortable with it.
Any other questions on this? Thank you for raising the issue, Bill. All right, we'll call the vote. All in favor of resolution R 15523, purchase of pedestrian lights, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I'll say no.
Okay, opposed. Motion carries 3-1, right? Our motion is approved 3-1. Next, we have resolution R 16023, approving First Amendment to agreement for subdivision improvements in the Usona Certified Survey Map. We have a motion to approve.
I move approval of R 16023.
Moved by Bill, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Dave. So our amendment to this is the three-phase staging of the sidewalk going in along the, is that the west or the south side? So there are 3 phases in there with this, and they'll be, each one will be put in as things are developed. The question I have right off the bat, why can't the whole thing be put in, that whole string right off the bat? Is it because the construction would be going over it? It talks about the intersection with Gunflint and some things, and I didn't quite, or there was a retaining wall also that
Yeah, so
was
there's
in there, so maybe.
There's several moving parts on this still. One is it's the connection on a Glacier Valley Road up there that's kind of unknown, and then also the existing retaining wall that still needs to be worked through. I believe that was installed by Promega, back maybe 20-some years ago. That's kind of getting in the rough shape, so it still needs to kind of be worked through on if that needs to be replaced or, you know, do we incorporate it in and then who pays for it? And so we thought putting this off would be best just to kind of work through this stuff. It was requested by the developer that the phasing, you know, we thought it would be in the city's best interest to allow us to kind of work through those issues in order to come to a resolution.
Certainly in the crosshatched area in the map, that's where the driveway is for construction, so I could see why we don't want to do anything yet. It looks like phase one, asphalt is already down. It does mention markings here. Is that all we're looking for? Is a dashed yellow line down the middle of that existing asphalt path?
For phase one,
Yeah, phase one, the section that's shown there already exists and is, you know, fairly new asphalt. I don't know that it's, I don't know how new it is, but it's in perfect condition.
I think it says it includes the bike path ramps and all crosswalk pavement markings.
and the markings are down too?
No,
No
no,
markings.
No
no,
markings, yeah. So they still have to do the markings.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
and
believe
they have to
that
do
the path for phase one has been installed.
The ramps, it looks like they need to still do the ramps and the pavement markings in phase one.
So this first amendment essentially is setting up the mechanism for the sidewalk or path to be done in 3 phases, is what they are requesting. And Kim gives a good explanation as to why. It sounds like phase 1 is almost done already.
So why do we have a bike path down to the driveway and then sidewalk from there on, rather than a path all the way up?
Because I believe there's a bike path on the other side of Gunflint Trail.
That's also true for the phase one section on Woods Hollow Road. And actually, there's a sidewalk on Gunflint Trail. The path is just the Cap City Trail to the northeast of Eagle School. And then you can kind of see it.
I got a page down, Bill. Give me a sec.
It's page 40.
Okay.
You can see the white line for Cap City Trail. That's the asphalt path. And then basically following the green line on the northeast side of Gunflint Trail is you know, on the southwest side of Eagle School. That's all sidewalk now until it hits the Cap City Trail.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure the subdivision agreement was done back in October 2021, so, you know, the rhyme and reason back then why they decided to install, you know, a bike path versus a 5-foot wide sidewalk, I'm not sure.
That's already all in the subdivision agreement. And the only thing we're doing here is just allowing them to do it in phases.
Yeah. I'm sure I'm gonna ask this one, maybe Bill. So on the Cap City Trail, you know, you see where
It don't look like
you
you
get
get
on
on
a
a short
short
bike
path.
path.
Eagle School.
Yep.
Is there another entrance coming down into there? We show,
Yeah, so
where does
you
that
can
come?
see the white,
Following
you
that.
can see the white line that goes from the east of Eagle School
Yeah.
to the roundabout, yeah. So there is that path there as well. That's
Okay.
also a multi-use path.
That must come in just beyond the school there.
Yeah, the Capital City Trail goes behind it.
Yeah, I don't recall that path coming
Yeah,
down.
so there's a path on the northeast side of Woods Hollow that goes down and then to the east of the roundabout and continues to get you straight over to the Cap City Trail. You can see it on Google Maps satellite view.
Well, like I say, it's been approved. They probably approved it. I think I was on council then, or maybe not.
It looks like if you go to the intersection of Research Park Drive and Woods Hollow, that there's a bike path on the west side of Woods Hollow that heads north. And you get the vacant parcel, so I think it's looking to continue that. Would be my guess on why the bike path is on the west side of Woods Hollow is because all the way down from East Sherrill Parkway, it looks like there's a bike path.
Okay.
And maybe they just decided to terminate it at Woods Hollow and Fontana, just because that's where it veers off to Capital City.
Yeah, you can drop down onto Capital City from there.
Yeah, on the satellite view, when you're looking at Woods Hollow Road, you can kind of see the existing old path, and it stops just north of the Children's Center there. So the satellite view is old, it actually continues now to the driveway. I was just hoping somebody could tell me why it was path and then sidewalk instead of just a path the whole way.
I would think because it veers off to the Capital City Trail, so it wasn't intended to bring people up to Glacier Valley. It's intended to, at the roundabout, get people to the Capital City Trail there for some reason, versus up at Glacier Valley. So you would have like a mid-block crosswalk for that crossing if you did it up there, or if you did it at the intersection.
Well, I mean, right now, if you take the path on the west side of Woods Hollow Road, it's gonna dump you off at the driveway where you're faced with sidewalk, which, we don't have an ordinance, so it's technically illegal to ride your bike on a sidewalk, so you're gonna have to cross the road there, but then jump the curb in order to get onto the path on the other side.
Roads aren't that busy either. I run through there, I'm usually on the street anyway.
Or if they're building a ramp to it, they're in phase one.
Phase one, a ramp across,
It's gonna cross Woods Hollow.
yeah, ramp across. Maybe they determined a sidewalk would be adequate at the time when they, planted this. Maybe there wasn't enough room for the width of a path to. Paths are 10 or 12 feet, so.
It seems like an odd choice, doesn't it? Sidewalk from Glacier Valley all the way over to the driveway and then that short section of bike path. It just seems like it ought to be consistent the whole way.
But that's how the original subdivision improvement agreement was written. So, this was just an amendment
To it.
to phase what was approved.
So I guess we can defer this, and if you want to reopen the subdivision agreement and could do a different amendment to that to see what they have, but I think some of that's already been built, I guess. Because that's, I guess, not what we're supposed to be deciding on today.
Yeah, this is the amendment to phase it in.
Yeah,
Which is,
yeah, so if we have a question on what kind of thing it is, I mean, if you, like you said, that's where I see an option. And if you don't, you're not comfortable with working on phasing, well, if you still want to go back and look at the type of thing, we'd have to go back to the original the original agreement.
It's gonna be phased, so there would be an option, I guess, to amend it and change it. I'm not sure what that would be, Bill, but.
yeah. I'm mostly just curious, because it, like I said, it just seems like an odd choice.
Have to find somebody who was back around when they did that.
Well, it looks to me like they're gonna sidewalk one side and the bike trail will be on the other side. Right?
But they just laid some bike trail on the side that's going to get the sidewalk.
Pardon?
But there's a brand new section of bike trail on the side that's going to be mostly sidewalk.
I thought the sidewalk was gonna be across the street from it. That looks like.
So this section right here
Yes,
is brand new asphalt that has been laid. It's a bike path.
yeah.
And then they're saying from here all the way up to here.
Yeah,
is
this
gonna be
side's
sidewalk.
this side's bike path. Not
As
on
well, yes.
that. You got bike path on both sides of the road there?
Right, so there's an existing section on the west side from here to here.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
goes
that's
all the way
very,
through.
this is very old. And then they added this new section to here, and then they're planning on doing sidewalk from there to there.
From here over to here only?
All the way up to here, that's my understanding. Sidewalk, bike path.
Sidewalk from the south side of the road, Glacier Valley Road. Those ramps up the trail across. Now, somebody apparently wanted sidewalk as well as a bike path when it was developed, right? Looks like to me. It was okay back then.
Bill, what is your preference?
Pardon?
Bill, you want to?
Let's move on.
Okay.
This is,
Okay.
yeah, like I said, I'm mostly just curious. I don't know how we arrived at that
Maybe we
configuration.
could look at the bike and pedestrian plan and see what it has in there, if it has both of them.
That's a good thought, yeah. Okay. Then we'll call the vote. All in favor of resolution R 16023, approving first amendment to agreement for subdivision improvements in Usona certified survey map, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Next, we have resolution R 161-23, preliminary assessment resolution for sidewalk, 2023 sidewalk replacements. We have a motion to approve.
I'll move to approve.
Moved by Kim, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Bill. As you saw in the resolution, the city has gone through and identified sidewalks that cracked or they shifted too much for a tripping hazard. And our plan to remedy those, I believe it's a 50-50 split, Tim?
For the most part, it's 50-50. There are some unique instances. Say there's only one side of the street that has sidewalk. So then that would be split. The city would pay for 50%, and then each property owner would pay for 25%.
Okay, I gotcha.
If it's a corner lot, the short side gets charged 50%. Is what the homeowner would get paid, and then the long side would be 25%.
Okay.
So there are some unique instances in the city's assessment policy, but for the most part, it's 50-50.
The residents have the option to repair this themselves too. They can do these themselves if they want. I believe has always been the case in the city.
Okay.
If they wanted to, I think they'd be lazy to, but.
Yeah,
Yeah, because the
economies
contractor,
of
yeah.
scale would
Yeah.
be
But
pretty.
But I do believe they have had that option in the past, I don't know how
Yeah, you might wanna-
they've done it.
Get a mud jacker under there and open up.
So is this, what we're approving today, this resolution is just to inform the owners, it's to set up the assessment
Correct.
and to inform the owners that they're gonna, the sidewalk, I mean, if you go out there, I live on one of these streets, there's, pink paint everywhere.
So people should have a clue that something needs to be going on, but
Yeah, and kind of what the process is, we'd mail out a letter notifying the affected properties that there'd be an assessment hearing. So we're shooting kind of for that second meeting in September to have the assessment hearing. And what we can do is schedule it for the same day as the Board of Public Works and just kind of set it for a time, like maybe 6 o'clock. If we're in the middle of the meeting, just stop the meeting, do the assessment hearing, and then move back to the meeting. And that'll give the property owners a chance to come out. At that time, we'll have the costs all prepared in a report on how much each property would have to pay. We'd have actual bid prices in by that time. That, would be accurate, and we wouldn't have to send updated letters at all, so.
I haven't been through a few of these, some people are gonna come in and say, oh, it failed because it was inferior construction by the city, and which I'm gonna say, no, we inspected, these have been inspected, and you.
Been through that quite a few times.
Yeah, there's always-
What's the ages on some of these things, do we know? Are they, the only way they could claim that it was inferior work is if these things are 5 years old or less and they're cracked.
Within the warranty that's only.
I know
18
my
months.
street, we've lived there 26 years, 27 years. And most of these streets are around my house.
There's a lot of them there, maybe a little less.
Yeah, it depends on different phases of the division, but I bet none of them are less than 10.
And are these all, like, where you've got to completely replace the section, or can you do some mud jacking? Because I know there are places where the sidewalk is uneven.
Yeah, we would replace the section, just, differential settlement, and what we do is we dowel in then the new section to the existing, so you don't have that happen in the future. If there's a tree root, we'll go in and remove the tree root as long as it doesn't impact the tree. So there may be instances we have to have our arborist come out, just take a look, hey, this tree root, can we cut it, or is it gonna impact the tree?
And they have gone out in the past and where you can even see out here where they've cut some of the concrete
I've
to
seen
make
that
it
too.
like a little bit of a
Yeah.
ramp. And some of the areas in my neighborhood, they have done that in a couple places where there has been a lip already before they were gonna go ahead and do this, so.
Yeah, the trees can cause problems. Trees grow as they may, Tim's aware of one now with a resident where his contention was the city didn't plant the tree deep enough. And I went and looked, and there was 6 trees that are kind of exactly similar within a couple blocks, but only his sidewalk was cracked, so, that damn tree, that root wanted to go under the sidewalk on parallel, it was kind of bad luck. I don't believe the tree was improperly planted, it's just the way it goes, but the arborist is working, goes out, looks at those and tries to make a determination. Feel the tree has damaged it, I'm not sure how we approach that, but. I'll just add, no one likes it.
Right.
Most of the people that live there never walk on their own sidewalks.
Well, they do to get to the mailbox.
Yeah, there you go. Any other questions on this? Seeing none, we'll call the vote. All in favor of resolution R 16123, preliminary assessment. Sidewalk replacement, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next we have 6 Foxtrot, resolution R 16223. Resolution approving a state municipal agreement to fund construction of county highway pedestrian underpass. We have a motion to approve.
I so move we approve R-162-23.
Moved by Dave, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Bill. This is strictly for the Terravessa neighborhood, so they can get under the county trunk and work their way down to the Capitol City Trail. Federal government is funding 60%. They're borrowing the money, the money for 60%, and we're gonna be paying the rest. Usually that 40% ends up being the same 60%, but that's the sharing. The highway is deemed too dangerous for crossing, even though, I don't know, thousands of bikes cross every day. down at the intersection, but there's probably no intersection right here, so.
Is it
So-
definitely decided that it's going to be an underpass? Have you looked at the topography and everything else, and it cannot be an overpass?
Yeah,
Okay.
underpass.
Relatively short too, it's not real.
Gonna save money by going under than going over.
Well,
It's safety concerns.
it's
usually
strictly
under-
a safety, yeah. Well, you run into safety sometimes with the underpass too, but at this location, this area, I don't believe that is a concern.
Remember all the fun we had on the one on
Yeah.
Verona Road?
Yeah, this first one, Dave and I, they put one under Verona Road, and contention was that all the people from LI Drive were gonna come running through the tunnel and rob everyone over in my neighborhood. Never really happened. It was quite an asset to have. The city did have to paint over graffiti, somewhat regularly, but there really weren't any problems there.
They're short, you can have daylight visibility from both ends, it's usually not too big of a deal, but I know a lot of people prefer over rather than under because of the safety concerns.
Tim, any sense if this one will have lights in it?
Depends on how long it is. I don't-
It's
I
at
don't-
55
have you
feet,
done-
right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I would think there would be some lights incorporated into the design.
All right.
I think there has to be to comply with the bike ped plan.
So I think this, I like this, it's a good safety thing. I believe this should be a special assessment against Terra Vesta to pay for the city's portion of it. Because,
I was gonna point out, I've heard rumblings of this thing for several months now, and I've wondered why we're gonna do an underpass rather than go out the east side of Double M. And I had assumed it was because property owners didn't wanna sell or whatever, we couldn't get the right of way cheaply enough. But the description here says it's to facilitate easy travel between that Nine Springs Hill development that's going in on the west side and Terra Vesta on the east. So if you're talking special assessment, it's not only Terra Vesta.
okay, me too. I'm just, where this is, I just feel it should be, that it's benefiting these neighborhoods specifically, and it should be a special assessment. The Terra Vesta is a big, wonderful place to live, but now we have another project, that, the one road going out there, oh, that's not big enough, I gotta pay for another $2 million, increase that road because of the traffic out there, and start saying, well, how much benefit are we getting from this subdivision? So I'm not gonna do it here, but I'm gonna make an amendment at council to recommend a special assessment for the remaining 40% from the neighborhoods, is what I'm going to move. I'm not gonna do it here tonight, just so you
this
know.
resolution is strictly to accept the state municipal agreement
Yeah.
to get the state's money portion of it.
That's
How
correct,
we pay for the other
That is
portion
correct.
could still be up for discussion.
that's correct. Again, a good project, I don't, all for safety, and, it's a busy road.
Yeah.
A bridge would be more expensive. By the time the ones we put in, we see how much they cost. Okay. Any other questions? Seeing none, we'll call the vote. All in favor of resolution R-16223, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion is approved. Announcements, our next meeting, scheduled for the holidays. So Tim, I will if you need another meeting that week, let us know. There won't be council on that Tuesday or thing. So if you need a meeting the first week in September, let us know.
And we actually do, there's one agenda item, it's the award of the tennis courts at McKee, to redo that surface. And in order to kind of meet the schedule that we would like to meet, and the Parks Commission meets on Thursday, I believe at 6 p.m. Would you guys be all right, 5:30 on Thursday, September 7th?
Before or after?
It'd be before,
Yeah.
so Thursday,
Agenda item.
yeah,
Let's do that. You guys' availability. So Thursday,
What day?
Thursday, September, that'd be 7th. Thursday, September 7th at 5:30.
Yes, after Labor Day.
You had another agenda
What
item,
time?
you could include it, you know.
Okay.
What time?
Half hour.
5:30 PM, normal time.
Before we close tonight, I'd like to run it past Bill about the transportation, how Steve Arnold brought up the fact that he'd like to have meetings every month, which I don't think is necessary, Bill, do you? Because you could spread that out instead of having it once a month, you could go every 5 weeks for transportation, and you'll spread out enough, be able to, you bring back stuff to the council that you think is good for
Yeah, I mean,
transportation.
the concern is that regardless of, regardless of how you schedule, if there's fewer than 12, then there's always gonna be at least 1 month where you're not gonna get.
Well, if you go 5 weeks, all 5 weeks, you should be able to get in there somehow, I would think, with what we come up with. I don't see having to have 12 meetings is where I'm coming from, that he wants to go from. Originally, it's been set up for a long time, 10 months.
10 meetings, yes,
Yes.
figuring there's 2 months out of
Yeah.
the year that they didn't have critical agenda items or
Yeah.
whatever.
But I see no reason why the transportation can't go every 5 weeks instead of having 4 weeks.
Well, I suspect nobody's gonna wanna do every 5 weeks because then you can't, it's harder to schedule that way. You know, it's not.
It's hard to
Not even
plan.
a special meeting.
It's easier to remember, you know, first Thursday of the month than first and then the second and then the third and then.
Where I'm coming from though, if you're worried about the fact that you're not gonna have that meeting for those 2 months, you will if you go 5 weeks. Right? You'll get that meeting in there.
You'll have 10 meetings.
For-
10 meetings.
Yeah, if you,
Either you stay,
pardon?
or you stay monthly and you skip July and December. You know,
Right.
the rest of us, you know, I don't be overly critical, but the rest of us have jobs and lives, and Steve's job is to try to tell me how to live my.
Usually not much that happens
try to
between
tell us how to
Thanksgiving
live
and
our lives
Christmas,
in
so
Fitchburg.
December is usually a pretty easy one, and people appreciate the time at that point.
So that's what I would suggest is you know, in July, council skips the first meeting, you know, that you stay with the 410s or with the once a month and skip July and December.
Okay.
Would be what I would suggest, but again, I'm not on transit.
No, but I mean, I can't see having to have that extra 2 meetings.
I agree.
I'll take your comments back to Steve.
Pardon?
I'll take your comments back to Steve and,
Well, I'll be at the next meeting too.
well, I mean, I can email him.
Yeah, okay, go ahead, do that.
Anything else? Okay,
So we're tentatively planning September 7th.
number 7 at
September
5:30.
7th at 5:30.
Only tentative? When does it become,
Or is it
is it
permanent?
contingent on Fact TV's availability or?
Yeah, I'll check with fact.
I was
to
say
make sure
last
that's
time, yeah,
okay.
then they ended up changing something on it and.
I mean, he'll be here for the, you know, for the 6 o'clock meeting or whatever it is, but I don't know if he can make it the extra half hour.
Yeah, I'll be here for parks anyways. All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Kim, second.
Second.
Anybody all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned at 6:30. Thank you.